And all my gamers and NFT enthusiasts, the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast is hooked up with the Lightest Sphere Network to offer you something special. Go to the top line of the description box and click on the link to play a season preview of the game Finesse Shadow Warriors. Is brought to you by play.finesse.fun. Go to the top line of the description box if you're into NFTs and if you're into gaming. Go have nonstop fun. Tell me your boy Oga sent you. The link is at the top line of the description box. Play.finesse.fun. Go get it. I want to get your thoughts on Kanye West and Adidas. A couple of days ago, an article came out about him. First and foremost, they were reporting like billions of dollars worth of losses through his brand and also Beyonce's brand. Now they've reported that they're coming back together to the table to help sell off the remaining inventory, but nothing new. How do you feel about Kanye West going back to the table with him? Because they were probably dying in front of us, Adidas, and now Kanye is kind of going to give them a life at least, for a short amount of time. How you feel about that?
Well, I don't know Kanye that well. But we did talk for several hours right in the middle of all that stuff. And I just told him what I thought about the situation. And here was the deal. It was very unfortunate to me because I did not feel like Kanye had to go as far as he did with his whole issue with Jewish people. I feel like, but that's where mental health comes into play, where I become concerned that, do you really understand what you're giving up, right? Because I'm sitting here thinking as a black man about all the things. Like I told him, I was honest. I said, look, I don't know nothing about fashion shows in Paris. I don't give a shit about that. I would never marry a Kardashian. I think that causes stress. I said, and I don't even understand why people love your shoes this much. However, the common interest we have is that we're two black men from Chicago that have some interest in the black community. And what I then felt was, I said, $250 million, man, that's a lot of money to give away because you have something to say. I'm not saying you don't have a right to say it. Right. I stand by, your perspective, a lot of it. But I wonder if there's a way you can still keep the bag and still make your point, right? The world gives, when you're in a Kanye West position, you have a lot of leverage and leeway to really express yourself in ways other people can't. Because here's the deal. Here's the reality. The economic reality is that Adidas needed Kanye West. They still need Kanye West. They didn't want to drop Kanye West. They had to drop him because he kept hammering away on the anti-Semitic stuff, on the Jewish stuff. So they're like, damn, we don't want to get rid of him because they knew what was going to happen. They know for whatever reason. It's really almost magically strange how like Beyonce's products are not selling for them. Like you would think of Beyonce would be just as popular. No, Ivy Park, that brand has not done very well, but Yeezy was absolutely killing it. And so when they got rid of him, the expected happened. The company started to plummet. Stock price went straight into the garbage. Everybody's about to get fired and all that. They wanted him back. They wanted him back to the table. And I did advocate for that. I said, is there a way you can maybe get on the phone and talk to him and work it out? And so I don't really know the terms of the new agreement in terms of what they're doing. I don't know. I'd be shocked if this was a long-term relationship. Also, you can't believe everything you read. What you see in a headline might be different from what the reality is. I have no idea. I wish him the best on that. But it was to be expected. I think Kanye became extremely wealthy because he became just such a powerhouse in his ability to sell his shoes. But one of the challenges that I would lay out for Kanye or a lot of guys is sometimes with hip hop and being successful in music or whatever can get you thinking that you're like a god, that you are beyond reproach, that can't nobody tell you nothing, and that all your ideas are the best ideas. And I encourage anybody in here who's listening, who is successful, is going to be successful, is never get to the point where you always think you're the smartest person in the room, or never get to the point where you don't listen to people who are genuinely giving you a perspective that you may want to consider, because you may end up putting yourself in tough situations. So with Kanye, like, I wish him the best. I don't know how Adidas is going to really make this work because I don't see him changing. He's a strong man in terms of being clear about who he is and what he wants and what he thinks. So I don't really know how they're going to make that work, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if it blows up again at some point, but I hope it doesn't. But believe me, that was a lot of money on the table. I mean, $250 million a year, that's a ton of money. And the last point I did kind of make was I said, man, that if you look at the endowments of the top 10 HBCUs in the country, only a handful of HBCUs have an endowment that is higher than the amount of money that Kanye was making in a year, right? So I said, brother, with the amount of money that you were giving up with Adidas, you could endow 3 or 4 HBCUs per year by yourself and educate Black children for the next 100 years, right? And so again, I support free speech. I support free expression. I just wish that we would kind of just understand limitations in terms of understanding like that we're part of a team here. And so with Kanye, I wish him the best with that, but I don't know how that's going to work. I just really cannot see how, because he's going to keep doing what he's doing. He's not going to change. So I don't know. I don't know what Adidas's plan is, but I think it's smart for them because they were losing money hand over fist without Kanye.
Absolutely. I want to talk about Deion Sanders. Now, it's a perfect transition talking about HBCUs. Now, we had that conversation about his exit from Jackson State, and it was a very healthy conversation on both sides of the spectrum. But I don't know if you've seen his recent comments while he was speaking to Rich Eisen in regards to recruiting. If you did, what do you think about that? That was a little bit. Oh, I don't know if you saw that. As much as I love Deion, I'm like, damn, why would you do that? You got the brother, or not the brother, but the dude laughing in the back, sounding like he just had choked on his bologna sandwich. He was going crazy in hysteria. What do you think of that, bro?
Okay, so you're referring to when he said that he likes to recruit quarterbacks that come from 2-parent homes.
And the tackles look like they from single parent baby mamas and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think it sounded like he was trying to be funny, but there's an element of seriousness to what he said.
Yeah, right.
Do I think that he said it the most articulate way that he could have? No, he did not. I think that the problem with the conversation about dual parent homes is that most studies show you that if you have a home with 2 healthy parents, your wealth is going to be higher, your opportunities be better, the children are safer. All those studies are clear. However, you got to be careful with that conversation because you end up hurting a lot of people's feelings. You hurt the feelings of maybe single mothers who, by no fault of their own, were left doing the best they can with the child in their house. You're hurting the feelings of good fathers who were pushed out of the lives of their kids. That's a narrative people don't talk about how many fathers wanted to be in the lives of their kids and couldn't. You're also hurting the feelings of the children that grew up in these households that, are like, damn, like, why am I stigmatized just because of what my father did? I was a child like that. My biological father was not there with me. I just lucked out. I had a good man that stepped in his place, but without him, I wouldn't be who I am right now. What I think Deion was saying, if you want to look at the point that could be taken from this, if you look past the fact that he probably shouldn't have said it, definitely shouldn't have said it the way he said it, is there is a difference typically between a young man that has a father as a role model versus a young man that does not have that role model. And I'm not talking about somebody that sees you once a month. I mean, think about it. Can you really be a mother to somebody if you only see your kids once a month? What if a mother picked her kids up on the weekends and said, I'm just the same as the mothers who are there every single day? That's just not true. A parent is with the child all day long, 10, 12, 14 hours of interaction per day. Pull your pants up, clean your room, go do your homework, come to the store with me, right? So that mentorship is what you're getting, right? And pay attention. It matters. Look at the Super Bowl. The 2 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, their number 1 role models were their dads. Their fathers were the ones who helped them stay focused. Jalen's father was the one who helped him not go crazy when Nick Saban kept putting him on the bench, even though he deserved to get more playing time at Alabama. When he transferred to Oklahoma, then he goes to the NFL. Everybody's doubting him. His father pulled him through that. Tiger Woods, his father was a huge guide in terms of helping him navigate the nonsense. And you saw what happened when his father died. Tiger kind of fell off the rails. So the father is important because the father really is the role model that controls the young man and gets him to like kind of calm down. Like when he gets angry and mad, like I remember, I can even think of a time where I got so mad at a guy over a girl, I was ready to go to this guy's house and anything could have happened, right? And my father was the one who stopped me from going to his house, right? So if you don't, here's the thing. I think that we can hear what Deion said and tell him where he was wrong, right? The statement should be made with a little more empathy. You can't just write people off because of what happened in their house or things that are out of their control. In fact, Deion's own children did not have their father in the house the big chunk of their childhood. This man been divorced twice, right? So to some extent, you're even talking about your own kids. You're talking about Tom Brady's child. Tom Brady's son doesn't have a father in the house. So you got to be real careful when you make a comment like that. But at the same time, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't go on a cancel campaign and say, oh, everything you said, because I disagree with some of what you said, everything you said is garbage, or because it doesn't fit my political agenda. That's the thing. They got an agenda, man. They want black families to go without the protection of a father, because the fathers are the ones who stand up to the bullshit.
Yeah.
The fathers are the ones who say, no deal. We ain't doing that. You're not coming in here and taking the resources, taking my daughter, taking my wife's mindset. You're not doing that, right? So because when you don't have that, you see the mother getting hypnotized by the pimping ass preachers. You see the children getting hypnotized by or getting taken up by the criminal justice system. You see the resources from the family being taken out and divided. You see the whole family fall apart. A good father is absolutely essential, and a good father is as important as a good mother. So I think this conversation needs to be had. I'm glad he kind of said it. I just wish he hadn't said it in that way. But then here's the other thing too. I think that when a conversation like that happens and somebody does it wrong, it's important that we lean toward people who really understand this thing and how to have a better conversation so that you can really get it right. Like, I'll give you a good example that really showed how smart Charlemagne can be when Charlemagne's being smart. Sometimes he's not being as smart as other times. But one time where I felt like he did something really intelligent was this. Dame Dash had gone on to the Breakfast Club and did that real famous interview where he was basically talking about being a boss, and if you got a boss, that's like calling another man daddy and everything else, right? And I remember Charlemagne called it. He's like, man, we got brothers out here quitting their jobs and doing crazy stuff because of what they heard Dame say, and they don't have a plan. And so he said, Dr. Boyce, I need you to kind of balance, what he said. And I said, absolutely. I said, I'm not going to negate what Dame said, because I think that it's very important as men that we challenge ourselves and understand that you cannot keep folding to white supremacy or acting like the white man's better than you, or complain about what some other man's doing to you. That is completely disruptive to your role as a man. A man does not sit on his knees and whine constantly about what another man does to him unless he thinks that man's superior, right? So I like what Dame did. I like Dame's, machismo, but what Charlemagne did that I thought was very smart was he said, okay, now let's bring in a professor to have a more nuanced conversation so we can say, okay, what does that look like when you make that plan to get off the corporate plantation or to become your own independent man? Because I believe every black man needs to aim for that. Every black man needs to aim for that, unless you enjoy being the beta to somebody who does not like you. So, and remember, for us as men, our objective has to differ from the objective of the women. You ain't a woman, so the things that work for black women are not going to work for you. So we have to have our own conversation, and we cannot apologize for that. That's what's really important. You can't apologize for what you want as a man, because at the end of the day, ain't nobody really going to cheer when the black man really stands up the way he should stand up. That's just to be expected.
Whew. Powerful.
Let me go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let me to kind of expound on the Deion conversation. Do you think that it would have been more accepted if he would have had it on a platform that was more so look like us, so we can properly articulate maybe where he was coming across? Because I think that one of the more harmful was the fact that you see, and no disrespect to Rich Eisen, and I mean, I've watched Rich Eisen my whole life and got a lot of, I got no problem with Rich Eisen by any stretch of the imagination, but the fact to see these three white men laughing the way they were and almost as if it was a joke can make people kind of offended as well. So do you think that maybe if he was on a different spectrum, it may have came off a little different?
100% correct. 100% correct. I think that there are conversations that you can have with other black people. The conversation I'm having with you right now, I don't think I would have with any white person on earth. Not because I don't like white people. I have neighbors that are white. I got plenty of friends that are white. White people, I don't have any issue with them. I don't wake up mad at white people every morning. But at the same time, there's some conversations we need to have amongst ourselves, especially sensitive conversations. And so when, remember, Deion is already in that weird, awkward position of abandoning his greatness, in my view, of what he could have done for HBCUs, and instead going and building the legacy of Colorado. 100 years from now, when the Colorado football athletics program is on another level, they're not really gonna. They might have a statue or a picture of Deion or something as one of their many coaches, but he's building the legacy of the University of Colorado. He's not really building a legacy that matters much to the black community. So Deion's already kind of looking like, he walks around like he's an alpha, right? He walks around like he's that dude. But what I would argue is that if you're really an alpha, then why do you have to go and become the beta for the University of Colorado? If you're really the alpha, like the originator, like, Marcus Garvey's an alpha. You have, Dr. Claude Anderson, he's an alpha. Institution builders are alphas, right? So an alpha to me is somebody who says, I have power like the sun. The sun's gravitational force is so strong that the planets revolve around the sun. They come to where the sun tells them to come. The sun does not revolve around other planets. The sun only revolves around maybe a bigger mass, a black hole, right? But the sun does not revolve around any of the planets. So to me, and that alpha persona that Deion has, in my view, I would have challenged him and said, okay, if you're really the alpha, if you're really that dude, then you should be able to stay right there in Jackson, and your shit should be so amazing that everybody will come to just be next to you because what you're doing down there is so extraordinary. That's true alpha behavior, and it happens all the time. Corporate Google was created by alphas. Microsoft created by alphas, like Bill Gates. You have companies like McDonald's created by alphas, right? We're not trained to be the alpha. We're trained to be the beta. We're trained to say, oh, well, they got something good going on over there. I'm going to leave what I got. I'm going to be a part of what they got going. Maybe they'll let me in, right? I'm going to leave everybody else behind so I can get me my little spot. That's not to me, Deion really living in what I thought could have been his greatness. I think Deion could have stayed at Jackson and made $5 to $10 million a year by just attracting all that media attention, all those corporate sponsorships, all those ticket sales. You sitting around your folks making millions of dollars. It doesn't get more alpha than that, right? So I really think with Deion, that comment, the fact that you're getting over there and you're yucking it up with a bunch of white boys about very serious toxic problems in the black community, shame on you, man. What are you doing? Like, that is not cool. Like, if you're gonna abandon us, at least put respect on our name when you're going into other spaces, and stop talking about something as serious as the fact that they've been breaking up our families for 70 years or more, actually longer than that, since slavery, and you just think that that's funny. That's not funny, man. Like, so really, I just think that that wasn't a good conversation for him to have. So in that regard, I think that some of what he said has some validity, is worth talking about. Right. But on the other hand, it's like, no, man, just talk about football. That's what you do. You're an employee now. Go be an employee. You ain't got you these other important issues. I don't even think you need to be talking about that.
My last question. Definitely appreciate the time. Powerful interview. I don't know if you've been watching the internet, if you watch YouTube a lot, but have you seen like Jaguar Wright and her expose of the industry? Have you been really watching that at all?
No, tell me about it.
It's a lot, man.
We don't got enough time today to talk about that.
If you ain't heard about it, we'll talk another.
Is that the one who said like she was talking about Diddy or something, right? Like Diddy. I think I know somebody who knows her, but I've never met her.
Okay, Diddy, Jay-Z, a lot of different people. Yeah. If you don't know about it, it's cool. I ain't know.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up, man. Now you got me curious. I do remember hearing when she first came out, because she was talking about somebody had raped her or something, but and then a bunch of other stories she had. So I'm gonna look it up now.
Yeah, it gets deep. It definitely gets deep, and sorry about that in advance.
No, that's okay.
No, we definitely appreciate your time, Dr. Boyce Watkins, on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. Do us a favor, sir. Let the people know about your Black Business School, all the endeavors you have currently going on, and where they can find you.
All right. Well, my new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It is designed for anybody that wants to build a legacy of wealth in their circle, in their family, or in their space that will last 100 years. My PhD's in finance. This is what I do. This is what I love to do, and I want to do it for our people. Also, if you want to learn more about that, you can go to boycewatkins.com. I also did a presentation a lot of people like, called How to Make Money Without Working. A lot of people they think you have to work in order to make money. Actually, the wealthiest people in this country do not work to make their money. So it's important to understand these secrets. So feel free to go to boycewatkins.com, and all that information is there. We have plenty of materials for kids and everything else. And we're very proud to say that we built something independent that is impacting millions of people around the globe. The Black Business School, we getting it done. So, and we won't stop until even after I'm dead, we still ain't gonna stop. So there you go.
Beautiful.
Definitely, man. Dr. Boyce Watkins on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. Appreciate you. And definitely have you back real soon, man. Thank you.
Always.
Thank you, brothers. It's always a pleasure, man.